Long ago in Seoul, there lived a poor teacher. He had a student named Kim. Every day, the teacher would come to Kim and teach him all that he knew. Kim respected his teacher deeply. But Kim's mother did not like the teacher and barely fed him, only gave him plain porridge. One day, Kim asked, "Mother, why do you feed the teacher only porridge?" And his mother replied, "What else should I give him? If he were a real scholar, but he's just a petty little schoolmaster." The boy felt hurt for his teacher and decided to prove to his mother that the teacher was a great sage who knew everything. That night, Kim sneaked into the kitchen, gathered every bowl in the house, carried them to the creek, and buried them in the sand. In the morning, Kim's mother came into the kitchen. There wasn't a single bowl to be found. She searched the house frantically, but couldn't locate them anywhere. Then Kim told the teacher, "The bowls are buried by the creek. If my mother asks, just tell her that." Sure enough, the mother ran to the teacher. "My son keeps praising you, says you're a great sage. If that's true, perhaps you can find the bowls that disappeared from the kitchen last night." The teacher made a wise face, stroked his beard as though deep in thought, and then said, "No need to search. They're buried in the sand by the creek." Off ran Kim's mother to the creek, and she began digging. Soon, she uncovered her bowls. She grabbed them with both hands, clutching them tightly as if someone might snatch them away, and rushed back home. That evening, Kim's mother went outside the gate and told the neighbors about the wise teacher. "He knows everything in the world. He can find any treasure. No thief could ever outsmart him." The neighbors listened in awe. "Such sages really exist," they murmured. Soon, the whole street was abuzz with talk of the wise man, and then the entire city. The rumor reached the great king. The king was surprised. He knew all the sages in the land, yet he had never heard of this one. He ordered the teacher to be brought to the palace. The teacher was frightened. "What kind of sage am I?" he thought. "What will I say to the king?" But there was no choice. He couldn't disobey the royal summons. He came to the palace and bowed low. The king looked at him and said, "It's clear you are a great sage. You walk with the grace befitting a sage, and your eyes are closed in deep contemplation." The poor teacher, terrified, couldn't say a word. He was afraid to open his eyes, afraid even to look at the king. The king paused, waiting for a response. When the nun came, he said, "Our neighbor, the Son of Heaven, has had a jade casket stolen. The wisest men in China searched the empire but could not find it. Now, the Son of Heaven asks me to send him the wisest of all my sages. Go to China and find the casket. If you fail, I will have your head cut off." The teacher left, heartbroken, and said to Kim, "We should never have played that trick on you, Mother Kim. Now I'm going to lose my head because of it." He told the boy everything. Kim thought for a long time. Could my teacher really die because of me? I must save him. "Let me go with you," Kim offered. "Maybe we can think of something." And so, it was decided. Kim told his father he wanted to see China, and his father let him go with the teacher. They arrived in China and found a huge crowd gathered in the square. Everyone wanted a glimpse of the Korean sage. A high official stepped forward and delivered the emperor's order. The jade casket must be found in 15 days. The teacher said nothing, just bowed. The official led him to a grand house. "If you need anything, just ask," he said. "You will be denied nothing." The teacher bowed again and said respectfully, "My dearest student came with me. His name is Kim. Please allow him to join me. He is my right hand." The official went outside and found Kim standing by the gate, entertaining passers-by with stories of Korea. "Come, Kim," he ordered. Kim was frightened, but obeyed. He was led to the teacher. They sat facing each other, trying to think of a way to find the casket. They thought and thought, but nothing came to mind. What could they do? The country was enormous. Finding the casket would be like finding a needle in a haystack. So they decided to make the most of the time they had, and began feasting day and night. 10 days passed this way. On the 11th, they began to prepare for death. But the thieves who had stolen the casket couldn't rest. They were terrified of the foreign sage. Everyone was talking about him. People were sure the casket would be found. At last, the thieves decided to take a look at this sage. Late one night, they crept to the house and peered through the window. Kim heard a rustle and grew uneasy. "Teacher, who's that scratching at the window?" he asked. "Don't worry, Kim," the teacher replied. "It's only the wind and the rain." The thieves gasped. Those were their names, Wind and Rain. They sat down beneath the window, dismayed. "Let's confess, Rain," said the wind. "He knows everything. He even knew our names before we got near the house." "You're right," said Rain. "We can't outsmart him. Let's tell him where we hid the casket and beg for mercy." They waited until morning, then came to the teacher, knelt before him, and began to bang their heads against the floor. "Spare us, great sage. We will tell you where we hid the casket." The teacher nearly jumped for joy, but answered sternly, "You scoundrels, you deserve to lose your heads for this. But very well, I'll spare you. Now, speak. Where is the casket?" The thieves confessed that they had thrown it into the Lotus Lake. The teacher let them go in peace. The next day, the teacher came to the palace, bowed to the emperor and said, "Oh, son of heaven, I know where your jade casket is. Gather a large number of men and have them drain the Lotus Lake. The casket lies at the bottom." The emperor summoned his people and ordered them to drain the lake. They worked for a day, then another, and finally all the water was gone. At the bottom of the lake lay the jade casket. The emperor rejoiced, snatched up the casket, and ran straight to the innermost room of the palace to lock it away. The teacher and Kim were even happier. Soon we'll go home, they thought. But things didn't turn out that way. The emperor grew angry that the sages of the Middle Kingdom couldn't find the casket, while a sage from the land of Morning Calm had succeeded. So he decided to destroy the teacher. He summoned him and said, "Since you are so wise and capable, bring me the sun from the sky. I wish to see it up close. If you fail, I'll have your head cut off. You have 15 days. The teacher, distraught, told Kim everything. They both wept and prepared for death. After all, who on earth could bring down the sun? They cried and cried, until Kim said, "What's the point of crying, teacher? Let's enjoy ourselves while we can. That way, death won't seem so terrible." The teacher agreed, and once again they began to feast. For 14 days they celebrated. On the 15th day, Kim came up with a clever plan. He told the teacher, who exclaimed joyfully, "Well done, Kim. This will fool them all." The teacher came to the emperor and said, "Oh, son of heaven, give me a ladder. 100 lie long, and I shall bring you the sun." The emperor gathered his people, and they built a ladder 100 li long. They brought it to the square and leaned it against the palace wall. The teacher approached it, glanced at the crowd gathered to witness the miracle, and began to climb. Higher and higher he climbed, then looked down and shouted, "Kim, what are you doing standing there? Run, quickly. I'm about to take down the sun. It will burn the entire city." "Oh no," Kim cried and took off running. Everyone followed, panic erupting through the crowd. The emperor grew frightened. The sages of China couldn't find the casket, but he could. What if he really does bring down the sun? What then? He shouted at the top of his lungs, "Sage, I've changed my mind. Don't bring down the sun. I don't want to see it up close. Let it stay in the sky." But the teacher replied, "Oh no, you ordered me to bring it down, and I will." And he continued to climb. "Please, sage," the emperor begged, "don't take the sun. I'll give you anything you want. Just come down." "Very well," the teacher said at last, and descended the ladder. The emperor showered him with lavish gifts, and the teacher returned home with Kim.